What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 most important questions to ask your contractor before you start a remodel. We get these questions all of the time, and these are actually questions that customers should be asking when it comes to interviewing and choosing a contractor for I guess you can say, design build remodel, which can include bathroom, kitchen, basement, addition, etc. That's what we do, and the point of this video is to help you so that you are more informed when you are in the decision-making seat of choosing a contractor for your remodeling job. Let's get started. Number 1, are you licensed and insured? I don't think this is a surprise, but most people don't actually understand why it's really important. First, a contractor cannot pull a county or city permit without a license. Also, a contractor's license is earned through experience. In most states, it requires that you've worked a certain number of years in the field, and that verifies that you know what you are doing. Next, if your contractor doesn't have liability insurance and something goes wrong, which can definitely happen, then they might be in a situation where if something catastrophic does happen to your house, they aren't able to cover it, and you're left on the hook. If they don't have workers' comp insurance, for example, if something happens to one of their subs or one of their guys while they're at your house, then they might not be able to afford that or cover it for that person if they do end up getting hurt. And if you're in a situation where your contractor goes out of business while they're doing a project at your house, then obviously that becomes your problem, because that puts them in a situation where they may not be able to finish. And in worst case scenarios, that does happen. And when a contractor is licensed and insured, you are significantly cutting down the risk that that's going to happen to you. You don't want to be one of those stories where a contractor has had to abandon their projects. A contractor being licensed and insured should be a filtering mechanism. Number 2, do you have references and reviews that are relevant to the project that I am doing? If a contractor isn't willing to provide you with a list of references for the same project that they are doing for you, then that might be a red flag. You are checking track record here, and that's very important when it comes to this industry. Ask for 3 references and make sure to actually follow up and ask the reference what work they performed, the quality of the work, and how they operated and communicated with you throughout the remodel. Also, check the contractor's reviews. If they have a website, Google page, and social media, that says something. It means that they have a business sense and an idea on how to market and run things outside of the projects that they are working on. Having a company infrastructure is a sign that they can run a business, communicate with clients, and that they do this professionally for a living, which leads to the next question. Number 3, how many projects are you working on? This is important and could determine if your project takes weeks or months. Most horror stories with contractors is that they take forever. The main reason for this is that they are spread too thin. They only show up to work a couple days a week, and you are left with no bathroom, no kitchen, no basement, or whatever work you're having done, and you're put out for a long time. Like, we constantly tell our customers, like, remodeling work is intrusive. It interrupts your life, and you want to cut that down and make that as easy as possible. And if a contractor, again, if they're spread too thin, then that could end up badly for you and your remodel, and it can just cause it to take way too long, and you have days where just nobody shows up, and that can be super frustrating. Doing multiple projects at a time, though, isn't always a bad thing, and sometimes contractors need to do it. They need to keep their guys busy, and there are natural lulls in projects. A contractor could have multiple crews or subs to use, but you need to make sure and address that beforehand and make the contractor address how they are going to handle this up front. You need to take this into account during your decision-making process. Number 4, how do you handle change orders? I don't like saying this, but you have to be aware of the bait and switch contractors. There are contractors out there who will just underbid a job and bait you into a almost too good to be true price or a really low price, and then hit you with change orders later. There are a couple things you can do to protect yourself from this up front. First, ask their references how the change order process went for them. Again, the references should be of the same project. If you are doing a kitchen remodel, then the reference that you need to be speaking with should have done a kitchen remodel, and so on. Next, ask the contractor to be transparent about budget items and material allowances. For example, we disclose in our proposals how much we are budgeting for certain selection items like cabinets, hardware, sinks, faucets, flooring per square foot, tile per square foot, etc. This way, our customers know that if they choose something that is very highly priced and way above, for example, the budget number or the allowance number that we provide them, there's a good chance that they might get a change order for it. Of course, there are certain things that come up unexpectedly throughout a project that are impossible for a contractor to know up front. Those things happen, but it shouldn't be a common occurrence. Finally, and I have to say this, if you nickel and dime your contractor, then it might happen to you in return. Not out of pettiness, but if you're driving down the price of your scope of work, that is eroding. Honestly, what it's doing is it's eroding the contractor's buffer that he has on cuts, waste, etc., profit. That cuts into his profit. And when that happens, the contractor, if they're doing this professionally, if they're doing it for a living, then they have to make money off of the job. You, as a mature customer, you should know this. Like, this is a business, and you want a professional, profitable remodeler doing work, especially if it involves structural items, if it's a large project that involves, if you want it done high quality, like, you do get what you pay for in this industry. But I just want to reiterate, when the contractor's buffer and profit starts to be affected, you are much likely to hear from them for smaller things more often. Think about this when you're looking at the price of the contract, which leads to number 5. Do you have a written agreement? The answer to this better be yes if you are dealing with a professional. First, a written service agreement is a filtering mechanism. It proves that they are a professional company. And if you're doing a remodel, again, large remodel, small remodel, there are things that can go wrong. And if you're not dealing with a professional, then you are running the risk of making their problems your problems. An agreement in writing is supposed to protect you. This provides protection for you as the customer. For example, if the contractor doesn't perform the work agreed upon, then you now have the legal standing to ensure it gets done. A typical service agreement should include things like the entire scope of work, price, payment schedule, estimated start and end date, change order language, points of contact, state where the contract is valid and in force, and assignment and severability language, and warranty information. For example, these are just a lot of the things that it should include. In our service agreement, we have an introduction letter which explains who we are, who the project manager is, who the design manager is, and the foreman will be for the project. We provide our customers with a what to expect when remodeling document, which communicates things like they're going to experience dust, how and why start date might change. It may not be a black and white thing. It's like hitting a moving target. We let them know the hours, the typical hours that our crews work, how many projects we run at a time, how we handle check-ins and communication on a weekly basis, permission for us to use photography of their remodel for social media, and how we upkeep and access the property on a daily basis. Basically, we try to communicate all of these things that I'm talking about here in this video before our customer even decides to work with us. And we have our customers initial and sign every page of this agreement, which can be 15 to 20 pages depending on the final scope of work. Believe it or not, remodeling can be a very pleasant experience, and there are a lot of people that don't know that. It also doesn't have to be the most expensive company that provides you with excellent service. However, and I will say this, and I've already said it once in the video, you do get what you pay for in this industry. Being the cheapest is probably the biggest risk that you are going to take. A price that is too good to be true is probably too good to be true. There is generally a reason as to why they are priced so low. And there are probably corners being cut, and those corners probably have a lot to do with the things that I just explained to you here in this video. Finally, and again, the point of this is to set you up for success when remodeling. If you have any questions for us, please leave a comment. We get back to all of them. And if you got value from this, we ask that you please subscribe. We want you to continue to be inspired and educated when it comes to your home. We are here to be of home service, and I will talk to you soon.